Alright guys, so today I wanted to post a video just in case it's useful to anybody. Wow, I just noticed something really bad. Wow, that's hilarious. Okay, well, I guess we'll cover that right at the end. So, I bought a 2004 CBR RR. This is 600. And this was not running, so I work on cars, and I figured this would be an interesting project. So you can see it's like super torn down. I just took everything off, like in regards to the fairings. I have a dry box going right there. And in the process of removing like the taillights and the headlights, obviously I disconnected a lot of stuff, and I was like, oh, I should probably check, see exactly what's wrong with it before I just rip the motor out for the heck of it. So I had unplugged like a lot of these harnesses. There's a blue plug here, this, because I was like, oh, this just goes to the headlight, not a big deal. But you actually have a plug that goes here to the bottom of your little dash, your cluster, and obviously you do have stuff that goes to the headlights. But I was getting prior to disassembling the whole harness or parts of the harness, I would put the key in and I would get the fuel pump prime. So I figured, okay, clearly that's working. But I had taken this thing off. In full honesty, I don't know what it is yet. Maybe something to do with the fact that says up, something about the orientation of the bike. But that was not plugged in. I had it taken off because it was sitting with the headlights over there. So then I was all worried that I messed something up. I flipped like the tank upside down. I thought that was a no-no. I checked the Zener diode. I checked the pink wire, but I was getting the correct voltage. So I'm like, okay, it can't be that. And then I found that thing on the floor, so I plugged that in. So if you ever had a working fuel pump prime and you start disassembling stuff like I did, one, note that thing has to be on. So I plugged that in, put the tank back on, plugged in the high pressure side, and obviously the connector for the tank, and it worked. Okay, so that was one thing. So then I went to crank it, and it would just click. I could hear the starter switch engaging, so I knew that obviously like my cutoff wasn't the problem. I knew that my little igniter wasn't the problem. So then I took my power probe, and obviously this is the starter, and you can see this thing under your gas tank, your fuel tank. You can see the hole that it plugs into right there. So it'll just literally be like right in that center of that void. You'll see this little 12 mil sticking out, this little stud. So basically I put my power probe on it. It was reading no voltage, and the second I hit the igniter, it would read that it was getting 12 volts. So basically I verified that this was getting power, right? So I know that there's no circuitry issues up until this point, which I think is probably a very common complaint or issue, is that you will have circuitry issues. But basically, if you put power to this and your car or your motorcycle still isn't cranking, then you know this is the issue. So now I have it out, I hooked it up to the battery, and you can see it cranks very lightly, but it just does nothing. Like, if it can't even spin that with no motor attached, then clearly it's not going to spin the whole thing. So you can see this thing struggling. So surprisingly, it's hard to find starters for this. So I guess people are so accustomed to doing the brush kit. So I'm gonna order one of those, and then I'll report back to see how it changes. And then to do this, I removed the thermostat housing. Let me show you that. It was this right here. When it sits in the bike, it is like this. So you have a big hose on to the left. You have two hoses to the right. This top one is for the overflow. This bottom goes to this valve that I'm not sure what quite it was, but you can see mine is rusted shut. So I think that might be an issue that was why this bike was leaking coolant, because if the overflow can't go out or wherever this feeds, then you kind of have all this excess back pressure. So I'm going to have to order a new one of those. I might as well just get a new thermostat, obviously the gasket. So that's going to go in, and then I didn't need to remove this outlet, that outlet. I was able to get the starter up finally fine. So there's basically two bolts. Everything's in the way. You see these right above my middle finger, and then right above my middle finger. Those two, 1, 2. Those two are holding it in, and then it obviously just slides out from there. But that's it. Drain the coolant, thermostat housing unit out, 3 hoses, 2 10 mils, and then obviously the starter. So just in case anyone wanted to see what you have to do, the tools I used was obviously a 1/4 inch, but I have a wobble 10 to get to those. People were saying remove the air box and all that. I didn't have to. I was basically holding it like this, real tight to the air box. I think I went to the left of that hose and I got to the back one, which is the harder one. The front one is basically where your ground strap connects. So yeah, that one's obviously easy. But yeah, you can see the mess in there. Person had stop leak and all kinds of stuff with this bike. Oh, but let me show you guys what I just noticed. I don't know if this would be a make or break. She can literally see there's a crack. I think that's a crack. Yeah, that's a crack. Let's see. You can kind of see at the top of the light. Right there, you can see it below the light now. Pretty much the center screen, there's a crack, and that's basically the clutch cover where it bolts into. I might try to JB weld it, but given that this motor might still be bad, because obviously I couldn't get it to crank, so I don't know if it's fine. But we'll see. But that's another fun issue. But that's fine when you only pay $500 for a bike. So it's been a fun project so far. I was really annoyed that I messed up the fuel prime issue, but we figured it out and we learned and we're progressing. So we'll check back soon. Okay, we're back. I've never cracked one of these open before, but I've never seen fluid in an automotive starter. This thing was legit smoking from that little test I did earlier. You can just smell burnt everywhere. I'm pretty sure that should have no oil in it. Anyone who actually knows about bikes, I would assume that the seal on the front here let oil get in from like the clutch housing, like where the gear is accepted. But yeah, this is crazy. Everything is full of oils, literally a puddle in there. You guys see that moving? And this thing smells horrendous. So I think I'm gonna order a Rix one and then not do the rebuild. But yeah, I'll put this at the end of the video. If anyone knows about bikes and what could have impregnated that with so much oil, please let me know. I'm really curious. So yeah, hopefully this is just a starter. This bike will run, and then we'll deal with that stupid clutch cover bolt that cracked through. That's really annoying that someone would break that. It's a tiny 10 mil, so it's really frustrating.